think after this game, and you tie it into the playoff game last year against the Chiefs, it looks pretty clear now. I think the last bastion of doubters of Allen are out of the way. And with this win over the Chiefs, the Bills as a team, but more importantly, Josh Allen, what he was able to do, how he was able to perform, and how he was able to be the major piece and outperform Mahomes, he is clearly the number one quarterback in the NFL right now. I think it's been that way for a while, but it has been a little murky. This is not to knock Mahomes, but it appears that this is Josh Allen's season. Long way from here to there. And these two guys could be going at it for a while, because even if you're a Bills fan, you've got to admire Mahomes and the way he was able to perform. Some of the stuff is amazing. But this is clearly Allen's time, as it appears right now, and the Bills appear to be the cream of the crop of the AFC. Again, long way from here to there. But they have now wins over almost all the major top teams, with one interesting exception, but I'll get into that later. So congratulations, Bills fans. I haven't been doing the coverage that I want for you, but it's been a bit of downer for me and my Dolphins. We had a nice high after defeating you, and things kind of soured, and I've been distracted. But this was too big of a game, and I'm getting over it now. The shell shock is starting to leave, so I'll have more coverage for you guys and other teams that I cover going forward. Now, I'm going to do the chapters today. I've been trying to work on that to help you guys have a better product, get a better product from me. So today will be good, bad, and the situation going forward. You can check the chapters out and do your thing there. But first, before I get into all that, I want to say thank you for stopping by. Fans from all different teams that come by, support me, really classy. I appreciate that. Most of all, I appreciate the comments. Comments mean so much. You give me something, I give it back. We have a dialogue, and that is what this really is all about. But I also want to give a shout out to Ace Bread, my sponsor, because without you guys and without them, this show ain't going down. Ace Perhead's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. Okay, clearly, Allen was the biggest piece of this puzzle, although when you really look into it, there are other quality pieces. But Allen had a great game, clearly took over. But for me, you look at Singletary and Vaughn and Diggs and even Davis as a supporting character. These were the major pieces of the game. Both sides of the coaching staff had an excellent game plan. I try to be fair with my own team. I try to find what's wrong, because I think that's what our evaluation is all about, finding the good, also finding the bad. Now, there's some things we'll get into that I do have concerns, but for the most part, Dorsey, I had reservations, not about him in the long term, but over the course of his early play calling. And a couple weeks ago, it was talk of moving towards more of a run style balance, a pass balance attack. And I felt that this game, I'm going to go back into it one more time, but in my first couple of viewings, I felt really good about his calls. The balance he had, the run diversity in attack area and looks. And I think it really played out well. And this is kind of what I've been talking about for your team for 2 years. How dangerous this team could be when they could have run balance, run pass balance. Again, never to be a run-heavy team. But Singletary had an excellent game. Now, it wasn't all world, 200 yards or whatever. But he had 17 for 85 with 5 yards per carry. And that's 17 carries, which was more than Allen at 12 for 32. And, you throw 2 more in there for Cook. But that really played a major deal. A couple times I actually saw the Chiefs biting on your play action, which I have rarely seen through the course of the season. And as Singletary becomes more of a feature, more of a weapon, more of a real facet to your offense, the more biting you'll get from these linebackers. And it will be unbelievable for what Allen can do because he's already doing stuff without them even biting most of the time. It's like a wasted motion. But it actually started to have some effect. And as this film builds, defenses are going to be able to focus on Allen and, focus on Singletary and let Allen have his moments where he's not the focus and he's going to do some real damage. Now, Singletary had a great game. You could see him hit the holes quick. He was breaking tackles. He was working inside. He was working outside. He had some jump cuts. He had excellent play. He had some critical runs, especially to open up the game, which I really, really liked. That said, everybody thought it was going to be Allen, and the Singletary getting his early time had a lot of big gashes, a lot of big runs, and I believe that played a factor towards the end. Even in the second half, he had a couple of excellent runs. Now, clearly Diggs had an amazing game, 10 for 48 and 1 touchdown, and Davis 3 for 74 with 1 touchdown, and they were really, really good. I mean, they were really, really good. Singletary had a really good game. But Allen's Allen. Yeah, I'm not a Bills fan, and I say it all the time. This is a unique set of talents that we have here. And you can go back and you watch what Allen does, and he's not a perfect passer. His mechanics get off. Sometimes he gets a little flustered at times. But the reality is this guy is uber clutch, uber tough, uber accurate. He's got an arm like you wouldn't believe. Most of the time, he's asked to carry his team, and he does. And he wasn't asked to carry the team as much this week, but he clearly was the biggest piece of the puzzle. I mean, that run, breaking to the outside and leaping over to the tackler, we all understand how powerful he is, how big he is, the arm, the accuracy, the mobility to throw off platform, all this. But to leap over a guy like that, to get, probably about 4.5 feet in the air, over, or maybe even 5, over the shoulders of that tackler, to land on your feet and to run like a gazelle, there really isn't a weakness in his game as far as athletic talent. Again, occasionally the platform does. It's not perfect. You saw the Dolphins game where he didn't set right and throw, but he's also been hit. But, man, this guy is working to be one of the most amazing quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. And there's no denying that now. This game could have easily been dropped. That last drive could have had some mistakes, but there was some big passes, that big run, and it was a calmness. And this kid looks to be on the pathway to getting his ring, to claiming number 1 status, and making a lot of people, with these long people. Somebody out there who's a Bills fan should take a long list of all the negative predictions with the years on it of how this kid's not going to make it. And I think it would be pretty telling. Now, the one area of concern that I would say I do have is the offensive line. Allen is super duper. He could take an okay offensive line and make unbelievable things happen. But the offensive line makes the NFL world go around. And there's a lot of good that we saw with this offensive line, but there was also a lot of porousness in the pass rush. Now, Saffold, he's a really good player, but he's having a terrible season, a really, really poor season. And I don't know if it's the ribs and him missing a lot of time because of the ribs, and but he's a guy that you're going to have to trust into these playoffs and hopefully when you get to the Super Bowl. And it's a little concerning how poorly he's played. Now, Brown at the end was really, really struggling. I don't know if he came out because of injury or poor play or what the deal was. And Bates, he's really struggling as well. And so this offensive line is a bit of a concern for me. Sloppy tackling is a little bit of a thing too. Missed tackles. And special teams. Special teams, I think, is in another area where you need to see a little bit more out of that. But that's a small facet. To me, though, the offensive line still needs to pick it up. So congratulations to Allen. Congratulations to the offense, the Bills team, the GM, the staff, putting all this together because this team is truly poised. And they're not done. We have to remember, this defense played really well. Vaughn, 2 sacks, 7 hurries, 9 total pressures. And that last play, he was the guy forcing Mahomes out to get that interception. Vaughn had an unbelievable game, and this is why he was brought in. Edmonds, 10 tackles, 5 solo. And while Milano had struggles early, there were some key plays towards the end. The defense is without Trey still. And that's a big, big, big deal. I mean, this thing is still not getting itself to its final form. Now, it's a long way from here to there. I keep saying that over and over because anything can happen. People were telling me my Dolphins were going to go, be the greatest thing since sliced bread. I said, well, I hope. Let's let it play out. Things change in the NFL. Anything can happen. But to be in this situation, you could have beat the Dolphins, and that would have been better, 5-0. But considering all the injuries and to be 6-0, you'd be 5-1 at this stage with the injuries, set at the top of the AFC and having beaten just about all the top talent, top teams in the AFC, you couldn't ask for a better situation. Let's see how it goes. You got the bye week, perfect time for a bye week, but let's look into going forward. Now, what do we got here? Okay, so Bills have beaten KC. They're number 2 in the AFC. They've beaten the Titans, who are number 3 in the AFC. They've beaten the Ravens, who are number 4 in the AFC. Still haven't played it. I don't know. I don't think you guys play the Chargers. But I'm not really worried about them for you guys. There's too many big injuries. Slater and Bosa, that really saps. I mean, it's still a quality team. Don't get me wrong. Anybody can beat anybody. But I'm not ready to put them as a team to cause you trouble, especially if you're getting home field advantage. Colts, I think it's nice to see Ryan stepping up, but I can't put them there. The offensive line's too banged up. They haven't even got the run game going. Wait and see. Wait and see. Bengals, they're fighting their way back, but that offensive line is still a major issue. Can't count them. My Dolphins, I would like to. We got that early win, but now we're a game and a half behind, and then we got to play you at the end of the year in Buffalo. So I would like to, but I can't count them as a team that can do it. Now, New England, I think New England's going to be a team that is a lot more feisty than people are ready to believe. I don't think they're ready to take care of you guys yet. They might be able to get one at home. I do think that's possible, but I don't think they're going to vie for the AFC East, much less the conference. Broncos know, and the rest of the teams you all know, with Vegas at the bottom of shame, but they're not going anywhere. But the ironic part, or I wouldn't say ironic, the interesting part is the Jets. I said they'd be feisty this year, and they would beat some teams that you might not expect them to beat, but I did not think they would be in the situation they're in right now. They're a very talented team. I don't think they can beat you guys, but they're built in a way that's like the Patriots, with the ability to run that football and be portable to play in different climates, the rough weather, especially in the East Coast later on. And they got Sauce and they got Reed, which is 2 excellent cornerbacks to kind of mitigate things. I don't think they can defeat you guys, but they could play a little bit of a spoiler, reducing your record. It will be interesting. To me, the Jets beat the Dolphins. They still got to play the Pats, and they got to play the Bills. I don't like writing any team off. They have shown unbelievable ability, heart to bounce back off the mat, and it will be interesting. But to me, at this stage, barring some crazy injury to Allen, I don't see anybody getting in the way of the Bills taking their conference and a division. But the Jets will be one that could play some level of spoiler and make it interesting. I would still bet on the Bills, but it will be very, very interesting. At this stage, with Dorsey building a running attack and doesn't appear to be a token one. When a coach comes out and talks to announcers and says, we're trying to get this run game going, they're doing that on purpose. Sometimes they do that to kind of trick the other team, but I don't think I think it was a real statement by McDermott that's tied into Bean, because Bean brought in assets to help foment this run game. And I believe Dorsey has got his mind on it. And I think this is the way to go. And if this happens with this run game and taking it to first in this conference, I don't see any way other than something crazy for this Bills team not to go to the Super Bowl. Be interesting to see who they play. And it's not written in stone, but man, the tea leaves do look like this is the way it's going to be. Anyway, Bills fans, congratulations. I wish my Dolphins team was in a better spot. I'm hoping they can kind of come out of that dive and challenge you. But you guys have earned it. You have waited. Allen and this whole organization, this franchise, has really done so much stuff to put themselves in this position. And every element of it is responsible. So we'll see how it plays out. Bills fans, enjoy your bye week, and we'll get back to your coverage in 2 weeks. Curtis saying, thank you for stopping by. Catch you next time. Be well. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.